Check. Cool. Now we're working. Hey, welcome to the weekly update. Exciting update this week. This is now probably week 2, week 3 of Haven writing. This week I finished outlining. So I am about to start getting into actual writing for this novel. That is very exciting because mainly I just haven't outlined before. So I have a pretty rough outline. I'm going to pull it up here. So today what I really want to do is go through kind of the pre-novel process that I'm using for this one. Because for the last novel that I wrote, Day and Night, I wasn't doing these updates as I was doing kind of the pre-work. And on top of that, there was just no pre-work. This time I kind of want to go through what I did, what I feel is working, and then once we get that first draft, we can kind of go back through, see what worked in this process, what didn't, and what I might do differently. So the first thing that I did was what I'm calling a rough sketch. This just had kind of 4 questions: who, what, how, and why. So my who was just kind of my main characters. I had an idea for 1, 2, 3. I had an idea for like 4 main characters. One of them being the primary main character with kind of like some, okay, maybe they're not all main characters. There's some side characters. So there's kind of 2 that the book will follow more than the others. I have ideas for the other side characters and I put those within that who, just so we get an idea of, what is driving, well, not what, but who is driving this story. The next section is what. This was the largest section that I wrote in. It's probably it's about 1.5 pages. So I say large, that's not huge. So what I did is I just bullet pointed out the inspiration for this story, the main idea, kind of the conflict, what the story is, the entire basis of it. And then the next 2 sections are how and why, and those are both pretty small. How is 3 bullet points. Why is also 3 bullet points. How really goes through how the story will be driven and some of the character through lines. So this is really what's going to drive the main story, which is in that what section. And then why is really kind of what I want the reader to feel after reading this, or like kind of I would say this is maybe where the thesis statement comes into the book. It feels kind of strange to say there's a thesis statement for a fiction, but I truly believe that most fictions have something to teach. And so I just put here what I wanted the reader to feel like at the end. And that's, I think that will help me create really good themes throughout the book and not just kind of have it melt into just action, plot, exposition, whatever else there is. I think that this will give it a good through line. So then next, this is the bulk of the document as of now, probably 1, 2, actually, so I say bulk, but it's actually pretty short as well. It's really about 2 pages long, and that's just the outline. So the way that I did this is I put, I have a hook, I have my introduction to our protagonist, first plot point, midpoint, tipping point. This is really just where you get to the midpoint and maybe the game changes or the book changes, something to that effect. I have a bullet point in here for catalyst. I don't have anything under that right now because I think I'm going to have to kind of get there to see what changes at the midpoint. Midpoint action, I've got a couple options written out. Disaster, a lot of books do come with this point of something will happen, a disaster will happen, something that changes the story. I could probably put this under catalyst as well. Aha moment, I actually really hate that phrase, aha moment, but I think that it's really just, this is a point where something bad changes in the book. This is the point where something good needs to happen to keep us propelling forward. And then revolution and end. So that's really how I did my outline. Very, very brief. I think that the first plot point is probably the bulk of what I have, just because I have the most ideas for the story kind of right now. I've been mulling this over for a couple months, so I have a lot of the beginning stuff kind of ironed out in my brain. And then I wrote, just yesterday I want to say, like a paragraph for chapter 1. And you know, I'll go ahead and share this novel is going to be a little bit different from my previous. I said in my previous video that I'm kind of finding that I don't really want to write fantasy. I want to write something more grounded. So this is kind of a complete 180 in that this is a mystery thriller, a crime thriller. So this is going to be present day as of now. And it's really grounded in some of the areas that I see in real life. So it's going to be interesting to kind of take some real world experience that I have and inject it into this book in a fictionalized way, very much so. That's very fun. I'm trying to combat kind of wanting to just write what I'm currently reading, and you know, I think that there's probably some positives to that. If you're reading a lot of a certain genre, you probably know a lot of the things that work, the things that don't work. But what I want to do is I really want to write what I love to read, and I think that this is a good starting point for it. I've kind of had an idea to make this into kind of a science fiction novel instead. So those are my two like main loves right now, is mystery thriller, crime thriller, that's one, and sci-fi. So this could end up being something more in the sci-fi realm, but I would say it's probably gonna be grounded crime thriller. So coming up this week, I will be writing. I plan to write chapter 1. It's not going to be a prologue of sorts, but chapter 1 will be from a perspective that is not our main character. I feel that that works most of the time and just kind of sets the tone for the book, and you know what the action's going to look like, what our plot's going to start to look like, and how that'll pan out. So that's probably going to be a lot of my work this week, is getting that first chapter really polished. I'm really looking forward to writing chapters with an outline in mind. There'll still be a lot of discovery kind of processes within this, but I think that it will lean towards I've got a plan and I'm going to hit some major points that are in the outline. So very much looking forward to that. It's going to be a great week of writing. Hope you have a great week as well. I'll see you next week for another update. Bye.